Hello everyone and welcome back to Trans Am. We are here for the second round of the championship and we are at Laguna Seca. It's a 20 lap race here, a regular qualifying format this time, so we will get underway. I started the previous episode by doing a lap of the circuit in time trial, or showing the best lap I achieved in time trial. However, I didn't really time trial this circuit too much, and we will just go through the lap in qualifying itself. So we exit pit lane, the very unique pit exit here at Laguna Seca, where we navigate the first corner still in pit lane, and then out onto the circuit, and we'll get underway. I did wait a little bit just to allow anyone who wanted to get out quickly to to get a move on and get out there, but soon enough we got our first lap underway. Unfortunately, the first lap did not go to plan. We threw it off the road not even halfway through the lap, so that was a little unfortunate, but we start our second lap and we'll hopefully be able to get this one together. Late on the brakes here into the first corner, tip it in. It's a double apex, so we'll try to make both of them. We'll keep it sort of narrow on the exit because the track does cut in a little bit on the outside, and then this right-hander, not really sure what to do here. It's a deceiving corner in some ways, but anyway, the first sector we did pretty well overall, as long as we utilize the full width of the track on each corner. That's 99% of what you have to do at this circuit. Unfortunately, we got nowhere near the apex, still struggling with that left-hander where we went off the road in our first flying lap. But anyway, this kink here, very difficult. We can take that curb on the inside, not every car can, so we don't need to worry about that too much as we now head up to the corkscrew, the most famous corner at the circuit. And we probably run in there a little bit deep, but not too bad. Flick it to the right to get as far right as possible into this left-hander, take a very, very late apex, run it all the way out to the outside, switch back to the left through the penultimate corner, and this final corner is quite tight. We'll brake as late as we dare. That we should have gone a little bit later there, to be honest, I think. But anyway, we will now run it up to the line and see what the lap time is. Beep beep, as we come to the line, and we have set a 1 minute 31.052, which is actually the best lap I've ever done at this circuit within the Trans Am rules in preparation for this week, for this week's race. So we zoom along and see what everyone else does. Matt behind us, and we'll see if he improves. He doesn't, so he will start behind us, as well as Jokin, who's not qualifying, it seems. But at the moment it looks like Chevy is gonna be on pole for this one, and John Teeter is struggling after winning the first race of the championship rather convincingly. So yeah, interesting development in qualifying here. John Teeter may have not picked the optimal car for this round, but as I said, it's Chevy who takes pole position ahead of Artsy in second position, Jester in third, followed by Sparrow, Park Verme, John Teeter ahead of Heafy, who is a new entry for this round, and then myself, and then behind myself is Matt and Jokin. Jokin also wasn't in the first round, and we have two drivers missing from this round. Consumer was not able to make it, as well as Ash, who did very well in the first round. I believe they finished second, so yeah, unfortunate, because we have two solid contenders not in this round. Let's get into the race. Alrighty, so here we are on the grid, ready to go as we head to the 5 red lights. And we're underway for the second round of the Trans Am series here at Laguna Seca, and it's a decent start for us. We're immediately going to get alongside Tita and take that position. I think Chevy from pole position had an awful start, and that has bottled up the field a little bit ahead of us. We're very cautious into the first corner. Tita sails it round the outside. We don't need to get involved in his fight today, as we are just going to slot in behind, see if we can follow him for a little while, and yeah, that may help our pace. I always drive better when I'm following someone quick, if I can keep up. I'm starting on the medium compound tyres, just like everyone else actually. That is worth noting. Every single driver starting on the mediums in this one. The softs are also required before the end of the race. Chevy sends it around the outside. We made a bit of contact on the way into the left-hander, and once again, we're not going to get involved in his fight. He took pole position, so he has a mega pace here. So you know, we're not really in the same race, and he's already gaining on Tita, going to make the move down the inside into the corkscrew. It looks like he's there, getting down the inside. He's through, and Tita, I don't think, can fight back against that. Nice work, Chevy. He's gaining places back already, but it was not a good start from pole position. I think he went all the way down to 9th, so it was really almost as bad as it gets off the start line. We'll have to see exactly how that happened, but for now we've made it through the first lap cleanly, or just about one corner left to go in lap 1, and we survived that one. We've got Joken and Matt behind us, so we'll have to see how that goes, but I know Joken is going to be very quick. We'll have a little look at a replay of the start then to see what on earth happened at the front of the field, and Chevy just did not take off at all. Jester with the mega start from 3rd position. He takes the lead almost immediately as we try and navigate our way through the midfield, but that was an unbelievable start from Jester, as he was able to capitalize not only on Chevy's bad start, but just get a rocket ship start for himself as well. So yeah, that D-Tomaso Pantera that he's driving very quick off the line. So that's something to keep in mind for the remaining rounds. That said, Chevy is in the engine swapped version of the same car, and this is what his start looked like. I'm guessing what happened is he actually jumped the start, and then when that happens, it basically stops your car and you just roll forward very slowly. So that is probably what happened to Chevy, I assume, and that's why he lost so many places off the start, as he now switches back Matt into the right-hander there and gets that position back, moves himself up into 8th position on this replay, and now you can see us just ahead, and he is full committed to the outside there. We just saw him at the last moment as we made that bit of contact and gave him the room, but that was a little bit awkward there, and then he just doesn't stop. Has a great run on Tita here, not going to find a way through at the kink. Not really an overtaking corner, but the momentum he carries through there and on the exit all the way up to the corkscrew was just insane, and very well driven to start to limit the damage from a disappointing start to the race. Here's Jester's on board of the start, and there wasn't much in it between he and Chevy as they were very close to coming together, but Jester has absolute clear view ahead of him throughout this first lap. It's the perfect start for him. On board now with Heafy off the start. He had a bit of an awkward moment too, as Park Ferme there had to slice through the middle of Sparrow and Chevy, but Heafy ended up with 2 wheels off the road, trying to navigate all that, but it was a good start regardless, and he gained a couple of spots out of that. So yeah, it's all down the inside of Sparrow, not going to get there, but he's looking pacey as well. In the Corvette is Heafy on board now with Matt behind us, and he got a mega launch off the start. I actually thought to begin with, my start was very good, but my start, the actual launch off the line was about the same as everyone else's, and Matt just gave me a big old push, which is what made my start look so much better than what it was. So thanks for that. That really helped on the run down to the first corner. But Matt takes P9, overtaking Joken on the run to turn 1 with that very good start. So both of the D-Tomasos, aside from Chevy, who obviously had that issue from pole, but both Jester and Matt in the Pantera and the Mangusta respectively getting amazing starts in this race, as Matt now makes his way through the middle sector, and Joken gets through. Matt has a little bit of an issue with the gravel traps there. Meanwhile, we also miss Sparrow making this move on Parc Ferme. This is all still on lap 1 of the race. There was a lot playing out. Parc Ferme tried to have a little look back up the inside, but was not able to do anything there. Sparrow takes that position and moves up into 3rd place with Jester and RC still up the road. So yeah, there was a lot going on here, and Parc Ferme continues to drop back as Heafy made the move there as well. So Parc Ferme really does not have the pace at this stage of the race, and is losing positions left, right and centre. But we'll see how it plays out throughout the rest of the race. We continue on. It's now lap 2 of the race for us as we make our way into the first corner. We're still keeping up with Tita for the time being, so things are looking good so far. Meanwhile, behind us, Matt has another little moment, and wow, that's a lot of smoke pouring out of the right front of that car. Not exactly sure what happened there, but there's some little issue going on, as down the inside goes Chevy on Parc Ferme. So Chevy continuing his charge forward, and Parc Ferme continuing to drop back as we go very deep and drop it off the road. At that same corner we struggled with in qualifying. It doesn't look like much, but I've really been struggling with that corner, and we lose the spot to Joken. Meanwhile, up the road, Jester still leads the way. The fight between the top 3 all are very, very close, as Heafy now sits in 4th place, and Chevy already back up to 5th. So it's already been a very good recovery drive for him in less than 2 laps. Parc Ferme tucked right in behind, and he's going into the pits very early in this race. As I said, everyone's starting on the mediums, as Chevy's now on the back of Heafy, and makes that move stick. So I don't know if Parc Ferme is planning to do the remaining 18 laps on softs. Even fuel for that distance is going to be incredibly tough. So yeah, I don't know if he's planning a 2-stop and just minimizing the time on the mediums, as Matt makes the move on us in a straight line. We did not get a great exit there, and we lose that position, as into the pit box comes Parc Ferme, and he puts a set of soft compound tires on, and we'll see how it goes. The tires will probably make it, especially on that car, the Ferrari. So yeah, I don't know, it's going to be interesting to see how this strategy plays out. He's going to get a mega undercut on everyone else, so that could work in his favour. But anyway, looking back towards the front of the field, they're all still very close together, as there's more pit stops being made. John Tita, the next to come into the pit lane, and he too will put the soft tyres on. Very surprising to see a full-on muscle car making a pit stop this early. Usually, you expect the European cars to have better fuel economy, but if Tita's gonna do okay, he just phased through the fabric of space and time there. But if he's planning to do the rest of the race on these tyres without refueling again, that's going to be a monumental stint. But Parc Ferme remains the leader of the stoppers so far, as John Tita now comes out of pit lane, and he slots in to what is now last position. So looking forward, Sparrow trying to make the move around the outside of Artsy, and a bit of contact there into the corkscrew. Sparrow goes wide out over the exit curb, and he loses the spot to Chevy in the process. So that's unfortunate for Sparrow, and that didn't quite go to plan. I don't think Artsy really saw him coming, as Artsy had a little bit of a moment through the kink, which is what gave Sparrow the run. Here's the onboard with Artsy, and yeah, just got that inside curb. Like I said, we can take that curb, but Artsy definitely cannot, and yeah, just sort of ran Sparrow off the road on the entry to that corner. Here's the onboard with Sparrow, and you'll see a better view of it. Big moment for Artsy. Sparrow goes for the move around the outside, and just, yeah, he didn't really have any room to work with out there, and does a good job to keep it on the road, but loses the position to Chevy in the process. Back on board with us, and we've caught up to Matt once again. We fell out of a rhythm for a while, made a lot of mistakes, but now we are feeling the groove once again, as we're all over the back of that Di Tommaso Mangusta, and we've got a good run through the kink, and we get the move done relatively easily there with the momentum on the exit, and we move ourselves up into 9th position. So that's a bit deep into the corkscrew, but no harm done. And oh, that is John Teeter in the wall. How's that happened? That is not something you see all too often. As I mentioned, he is the championship leader. He won the first round. How on earth did he find himself in the barriers at the corkscrew, as he navigates his way in, maybe a little bit wide of the first apex, and just trips on that inside curb, and it spins the car left. That's a very unusual incident for John Teeter, and that's cost him a lot of time. So we'll see what effect that has on the rest of his race. But anyway, more pit stops playing out here. We've got Jester in the pit lane along with Heafy making his pit stop as well. And here comes Parc Ferme around turn 2. Jester comes out behind Parc Ferme. So Parc Ferme remains the leader of the stoppers, as Jester was in from the lead. So that's actually kind of interesting to see. So the undercuts worked for Parc Ferme, and Heafy third of the stoppers ahead of John Teeter. Artsy now leads the race, but very quickly also comes into the pits. So yeah, everyone, all the contenders are starting to cycle through the pit lane, as Matt pulls over out of the way, allows Parc Ferme to continue on, as they're on different strategies at this point, the different phases of their strategy. Artsy in the pit box now, getting a new set of tyres on, filling up with fuel, and the longer people are going into this race, that basically means their car and they're driving less economically on fuel. So, you know, there is that sort of thing you can see playing out. Obviously, Parc Ferme is very, very good on fuel to be able to stop so early with such a short pit stop. But yeah, we'll see, you know, later in the race, the people making their stops will have longer and longer stop times. But anyway, here comes Heafy around the first corner, as out of the pits comes Artsy just ahead of Heafy. But it should be a comfortable gap. There's Teeter just in behind, and behind Teeter comes Joken, who was also in the pit lane in that beautiful Aston Martin. But anyway, looking back to Matt, he's still trying to allow all of the faster cars through on their, you know, differing strategies in the different parts of their race. So it's quite tricky to manage. He threw it into the wall there, not exactly sure why. There was no one behind him, but anyway, don't worry, I've actually done that before. But we're a bit further ahead, so we're not in this sort of zone yet, but with the pace that we have, we are in danger of being in this position where we are continuously being attacked by you know, faster cars on the soft compound tyres, while we're still waiting to get to our fuel window. I can make 10 laps, and it's a 20-lap race, so it's going to be, you know, I have a 1-lap pit window basically, so it's going to be tough, but we'll see how it goes. But yeah, you can see Matt struggling with all of these well, it's not blue flags because they're on the same lap, but he's treating it in the same way. But anyway, eventually he does come in to the pit lane, and he'll get a set of the soft compound tyres on. I'm sure that will be a relief because the mediums, they just don't feel good to drive on. When you've been driving on the softs, they're just not fun. But anyway, into the pits comes Chevy, and this may explain why he was so quick. He may have been burning a little more fuel than everyone else. But anyway, that is... it's going to be interesting to see where he re-emerges out of the pit lane. Matt comes out in last position, down in 10th, and oh, there's a moment on the pit exit, out into the gravel trap, and the day just goes from bad to worse. He spins off the road there, so that's unfortunate for Matt there. And some days things just don't go your way. We are almost catching up to him now in second position on track. Sparrow leads the way at the moment with no pit stops made yet. Same for us in second position, but you can see not far behind us is Parc Ferme. We go high and wide, let Parc Ferme through without losing too much time. We're on lap 8 of the race now, so a few more laps and we can get to our pit stop window. But yeah, I start sort of thinking if I can save a little bit of fuel, maybe I can make something work. As Artsy has a little bit of a moment through the second sector, and yeah, we'll get some dirty tyres from that one as Jester makes the move on Matt as Matt pulls it off the road. But anyway. We go back on board with us, end of lap 8, and we are going to come in to the pit lane, and we'll get a set of the soft compound tyres on. For a brief moment I was worried I selected mediums, but anyway, Sparrow is also in the pits on this lap. We are the last two drivers to come in for our stops, so yeah, we are both lacking in the fuel economy department as we're now on board with Heafy. What's going on here? Matt goes a bit wide, Heafy goes deep as Artsy made the move, and that was a little bit of an awkward exchange between the three of them. They all got away with it, but yeah, Heafy was got a little bit deep in there and almost had a collision with Matt, who was moving out the way for Artsy, but they all got through in the end. But anyway, we get our new tyres on. Sparrow exits the pit lane, and where will he pop out? Because he had good track position earlier, but there goes Joken, and that just shows how much time you can lose in the pit lane. Doing a longer first stint on the mediums and then a long refuel time. Sparrow drops a long way down the order into 8th position in this race. So he's got some work to do, but he should have good pace from here on out. Meanwhile, Chevy continues the charge and gets back past Heafy. Good move there, and he will continue that charge forwards. Oh, a big slide there for Artsy. Again, just bouncing awkwardly off one of those inside curbs. This track is full of them, those very aggressive curbs, sort of on the inside of the main stripy curbs, and they can cause you all sorts of problems if you don't have a setup that can handle them, or even just some cars don't like them. But anyway, Joken lets Sparrow through there, as you can see, and Sparrow continues on his way. Meanwhile, we find ourselves exiting pit lane now after probably the longest refuel of anyone. But yeah, we should be okay to go to the end. I will need to do some lift and coast and save fuel, but I think we're going to be okay. We've turned traction control off, and my thinking with that is, you know, I'm going to be more careful on the throttle, so I won't be just planting it and burning fuel when I don't need to be, because I'll be driving more carefully. We're at the halfway mark of this race now, so we'll have a little run through the order. Parc Ferme leads, Jester in second position. He has more fuel on board that car and newer tyres, so he will have the pace in the second half of this one. It'll be interesting to see how it plays out between those two. Artsy in third actually has even more fuel than Jester, and then Chevy in fourth position has even more pace to burn, and is definitely going to be making further progress in this one when he catches up to the cars ahead. Next is Heafy running a solid race and doing a good job so far in this one, well in contention. And then comes Tita, who you have to wonder if it wasn't for that mistake, might be a bit closer to the battles out in front. Then comes Sparrow, making the move now down the inside of Matt, and getting through nice and clean there. And behind Sparrow comes Jokin, who's been, not really sort of partaking in the battles out front, but running a very solid race nonetheless, and makes the move there on Matt, and puts Matt a further lap down. To him, it's not been a fun race for Matt, unfortunately. Just not having the pace today here at Laguna. Then we sit in 9th position, making our way through the corkscrew, now a long way behind any of the battles ahead. A lot of that was our pit stop time, but just our general pace just isn't quite there. But this car, I haven't really spoken about it much to the Pontiac GTO, the Judge. It is a very fun car to drive. I've really been enjoying it. So there is that aspect of it, of course, as well. And Matt driving the car we drove last weekend, the Di Tommaso, running in last position right now. Out of the final corner, that is Heafy getting into the inside barrier. A little bit too much wheel spin there on the exit, and just sent the car skidding across the road. That was a scary one there. And yeah, that was a 1 in 1 out for Heafy there. Hit the inside wall with the back end. It brought the front end around. Whack, whack. Meanwhile, that's Matt off the road again, and he's now into the pits for a second. He's crashed into pit lane. I didn't even think that was possible. How has that happened? Either way, Matt is actually out of the race. He retired after that little incident, so unfortunately we only have 9 cars left running in this one. I commented in the first race that everyone that started made it to the finish. That will not be the case today. Meanwhile, Jester is getting very, very close to the back of Parc Ferme, and there's still quite a way to go, and at the moment I think we're only on lap 14 or so. So there is still plenty to play out in this one. Jester is looking very, very strong at this point. Just needs to find a way through on Parc Ferme. And the other battle to watch is the battle for third. Artsy ahead of Chevy, and Artsy is well, that car's not particularly kind on its tyres, it has to be said. But anyway, look at Jester right onto the rear wing of that Ferrari. Gonna make the move to the inside. He looks and looks, but he's not quite there. And Parc Ferme is gonna hold on for a little bit longer. But Jester is absolutely hounding him. So it's surely only a matter of time before Jester makes the move and finds his way back into the lead that he earned at the start of the race with that rocket ship launch off the line. But at the moment, that is the world's widest Ferrari in front, as Jester is struggling to make the overtake. But in the slipstream up towards the kink, and now tipping it in. Jester right in behind, but drops the outside wheels into the sand, and that's going to create a bit of an air gap ahead of Parc Ferme, and just relieve the pressure for the time being. Back on board with us, and these two catch up to me, so we're going to let them go. We'll let Parc Ferme go. Jester actually dropped a bit further back after that little off at the kink, so we'll navigate another corner before Jester catches up to us. But yeah, we'll make sure we stay out of the way here, and Jester can continue his charge. I didn't know those two were having such a heated battle at this point. They were quite spaced out. There goes Artsy and Chevy as well. We just made sure we stayed well out of the way of that lot, and they can continue on their way, having their fight for the podium. Speaking of which, Chevy now making the move down the inside of Artsy, big lunge, and that's a clean move there. Maybe a bit of contact as Artsy tried to turn down, but Chevy was already through, and Chevy now up onto the podium. So it's been a very strong comeback drive from Chevy, and now he can focus on Jester and Parc Ferme, because Chevy has the best pace of anyone in the field. But oh, too deep into the chicane there for Chevy, and just as we were talking about his pace, there goes Artie down the inside, taking advantage of that little mistake, and Artie retakes third position, and the battle will continue on for a little bit longer as further back Heafy also had little moments at the chicane, but no harm done there. Didn't lose too much time to John Teeter behind. But yeah, I think Heafy's got a pretty good pace, but just a few little mistakes here and there is keeping him out of the fight further up the field. Meanwhile, Chevy going for the move once again ahead of Artie. Oh, a bit of a punt into the first corner. That sends Chevy very deep as Artie tries to get up the inside, now running side by side to the exit out into the gravel trap for Chevy, kicking up the dust, but still trying to get the move done down the inside. Can't do it as they run side by side. They're banging doors there on the exit, and now making the move to the inside goes Chevy, and finally clears the big Ford Mustang of Artie and makes his way up into third position. Will that be the end of the battle? Who knows? Those two have been absolutely going at it for quite a while now. Meanwhile, Jester is still trying his best to catch up to Parc Ferme once again. That gap is still too big to be thinking about any kind of overtakes at the moment, but it's going to be still an intense finish between those two. And Chevy deep again into the corkscrew, so still making mistakes, and this could once again open an opportunity for Artie as Artie makes the move down the inside into the penultimate corner and gets through. Chevy opens a steering and gives Artie the space. So these two are having a mega battle in the late stages of this one for the final spot on the podium. Artie's tyres are absolutely destroyed by now as Chevy gets a great exit out of the final corner and makes that move along the straight, starts to stretch away now, and I think that might finally be the end of it as now we look to Jester and Parc Ferme once again. Parc Ferme holding on, but Jester always closing that margin, and now the gap opening up between Chevy and Artie, so that might be the battle for third finally resolved. Meanwhile, back on board with us, it is a blue flag time once again as we have the next group of cars catching up to us. There's Heafy going past, and further back John Teeter making the move as well, and unbeknownst to me, Sparrow was also coming in very quickly. Sort of might have held him up a little bit there, but don't think that was too bad. But yeah, I didn't see him coming with the other two. But anyway, we let them through, and now continue on our way. The only one still ahead of us is Joken, but he's actually in the pit lane at the moment, and the reason is Joken actually ran out of fuel, and along the run to the pit lane with just a few laps to go, Joken makes a late call to pit with 0 fuel left in that car. So yeah, that was unfortunate for Joken, and he lost a lot of time in that. So that's going to give us an opportunity to catch up to Joken once again. He actually never left pit lane in the end as we ran a little bit wide there on the exit, but yeah, Joken remained in the pit lane for the rest of the race. Meanwhile, the fight for the lead is well and truly on now. Jester very close to Parc Ferme, and a bit in the sand there for Jester, sliding it through the right-hander and off the road again, dropping 2 wheels off, and that might be the end of it for Jester. On the replay here, just caught the sand on the way in, just drifted a touch too far to the left, and the same on the exit, and that is a frustrating moment for Jester as he sees a chance of victory now floating away. Meanwhile, as you can see on board with us, we overtake Joken as he's in the pit lane, and now we begin the final lap of the race, and we are on lap 19. So the fuel saving for us was helped a little bit by the fact our race has cut a lap short, which we desperately needed because there was no way we were going to save 2 full laps of fuel. But, you know, the fight for the podium now may be over, but there are still fights further back. Sparrow here looks like he's got a good run on Tita, and remember the gap between those two earlier. Sparrow has absolutely holding the margin, has got good tyres, good fuel, now makes the move down the inside, and he might be able to get this done into the corkscrew. Sparrow goes way too deep, drifted out sideways into the gravel trap, and that opportunity will not provide any benefit for Sparrow, as he made a little bit of a mess of that overtake. But you can't say anything bad about Parc Fermé's race. It has been a drive of perfection, a brilliant strategy, and he takes victory. Jester crosses the line for second. Chevy, great recovery drive all the way up to third. Artsy drags that car home on its rims for fourth. His tyres were absolutely destroyed by the end of that one. Heafy will bring home fifth position ahead of John Tita, and then here comes Sparrow across the line. Then we will come around the finish, around the final corner in 8th position. Little bit of a wag at the tail on the exit, bring it up to the line, and this will be a P8 for us. One position higher than Broadbean, and a fairly clean race for us. A few mistakes at the start on the mediums, but once we got the softs on, we felt pretty good. So yeah, I'm overall pretty happy with that race. I don't think we could have done too much better than that. Yeah, that was good. Meanwhile, Jokin is still in the pit lane. He actually just he confirmed afterwards he stayed in the pit lane to give us 8th position in the race and give us the points, so we didn't lose out versus the people we are actually fighting in the championship. So speaking of points, here are the results of the race in terms of the points people gained. 33 for Parc Fermé, 30 for Jester, 28 +1 for Chevy, really showing the potential with the fastest lap and the pole position there for Chevy, so 30 points for him. Further down, we actually made it onto the in-game graphic this time, and we score 18 points for our trouble. In terms of the championship standings, then we can now look at those. Both of these pictures were ones that Jester sent out to us. Parc Fermé leads the championship on 61 points. Tita second on 56 points, ahead of Chevy in third on 54 points. Then it is Artsy ahead of Jester. I actually think those two should be the other way around, because Jester has the highest race finish, which is usually how countback works when two drivers are on equal points, but I don't make the rules in this championship. We'll see. They may not finish that way by the end of the season anyway. Ash is next, and this is where we need to talk about the additional points rule that Jester made. For those who don't compete in every round, they'll still get points for the rounds they don't compete in. They'll just get points for 11th and 12th position, for example, if there's only 10 cars. So as you can see, Consumer and Ash both scored points in this race, despite not taking part, just so that the championship points don't get too skewed if someone can't make it to every race. Otherwise, we would be ahead of both Heafy and Ash, despite the fact they've driven far better than I have throughout the course of the season. So we sit 9th in the standings, still ahead of Consumer. So it does show that attending every race is still going to be a benefit. Yeah, Jokin obviously not making it to the first race, and more or less pulling out of the second one, sits last in the standings. So that is how we all stack up for the moment at the end of round 2. Still 3 rounds to go, and next time we are heading off to Fuji. So that is going to be a very interesting race. Potential of weather at Fuji Speedway, something we have not had to contend with as of yet in this series, so I'm sure that is going to be absolute carnage if the rain chooses to come down. But anyway, that is going to do it for this one, so I will say thank you so much for watching all the way to the end. I really do appreciate it. Feel free to give me some feedback in the comments, it is always very helpful, and other than that, I will see you in the next one. Goodbye.